Hello and welcome into Instant Reaction in Indianapolis Colts podcast. And we are talking about another Colts victory. They start the season 2-0 after defeating the Broncos inside Lucas Oil Stadium in walk-off fashion. We have a Spencer Shrader 45-yard field goal as time expired to have the Colts on top of the Denver Broncos on the scoreboard 29-28. Bill Brooks alongside of me. Bill, that was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was fun. It was a good game by the Colts.
I think I'm still breathing heavily from it, even though it was hours ago. But.
Yes, it was exciting all the way down to the end there. Not like last week where, the Colts pretty much handled Miami Dolphins. But this week it went back and forth, and the Colts hung in there, throughout the whole game. And this was hanging around, and then finally got that last drive and got down there and hit a field goal and won the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot you can take from this game. We're going to talk about a lot of those points, but a couple of the historical factors the Colts were able to hit today. They started the game with 2 straight possessions to kick off the game with points, and that triggered quite the NFL history, if you will. And it was, I think that actually got them to 9, so I guess it was the first 3, if I should actually need to correct myself a little bit. But they set an NFL record as they started the season with 10 consecutive possessions with points to start the year. The only team in NFL history to do that. And they also became the first team since in the Super Bowl era to start the season back-to-back games without a punt. I mean, you want to talk about efficiency. Now, I know we had a couple 4th downs today that didn't go the Colts' way, but ultimately, efficiency has been at a premium, and making sure that you are capitalizing on every opportunity for points, clearly something they've been really harping at, and it's really come to fruition on the field.
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing well on the field. I think that's one of the things they wanted to focus on definitely in training camp is to be efficient out there in the football field, move the ball down the field, convert your 3rd downs, and score points once you get into the red zone and have an opportunity to put points on the board. And they've done that and taken care of the football. They've done those things quite well offensively, so that's good for the offense and good for the team. And, when you do those things, it gives you a good opportunity to win football games. In the past 2 weeks, the Colts have done that.
And one of the guys that's really been the charge, the lead of all of that, Daniel Jones, yet another really nice performance here inside Lucas Oil Stadium. Completed 67% of his passes, over 300 yards, 316 yards through the air, 1 passing touchdown. He also was able to get another rushing score. I mean, it's one of those things where through 2 weeks, he has looked a little bit different than what the book on Daniel Jones had been to this point. And another thing that's been very impressive is he's done a really good job of keeping track of the football. 0 turnovers through 2 games. We talked about the efficiency. That's all, kind of led by what this offense has been able to do. But Daniel Jones at command, he's keeping good track of the football, and it's forcing them to put some points on the board.
Exactly. I mean, we talk about him being efficient. Last week, 75% completion percentage. This week, 67% completion percentage. Very good numbers. But most of all, as you said, Casey, not turning the ball over. Making sure that they keep the ball, getting the ball to the playmaker's hands, and when things aren't there, let's check it down to Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Let's check it down to Tyler Warren or whoever it may be, and let's just take care of the ball. Or if it's just let me throw it out of bounds. Whatever you need to do to keep the ball on to the offense. So he's doing a good job, and I like the command of the offense that he has and his just demeanor out there in the football field, being calm, being cool, and that permeates throughout the rest of the offense.
Yeah.
Those guys stay calm. They don't look rattled when, maybe in their hurry-up situation. They just stay calm and cool out there, and that's good for your quarterback to stay calm because you want him to be the one that's in control, and you don't want the person in control being sporadic out there and then, erratic and doing different things and being up and down. He's calm, level-headed, and that's the way he moves the offense up and down the field. Just precision, throwing the ball to the guys, getting the ball to the right people at the right time in the right places. And that's what you want in the quarterback, and he's done a great job, but most of all, he hasn't turned the ball over.
He hasn't turned the ball over. We talked about him throwing the football, but, hey, he was getting it done on the ground as well.
Yes.
He had his 3rd rushing touchdown in this young season. He had a career-high 7 rushing touchdowns, I think it was 5 years ago in New York. But right now, the 3 rushing touchdowns in this year right now. That's the second most of his NFL career.
Wow.
So clearly they have kind of opened up a different side of Daniel Jones. Now, we know what he can do as far as getting out of the pocket and escaping, but I think we have kind of seen the evolution of the sneak, if you will. We know Shane Steichen talked about how good he is in those short yardage plays, but clearly that is something that they are really utilizing to this point early on, because he's got 3 rushing scores, and it's not that he's a 25, 10-yard runs. These are, essentially, hey, we need a couple yards. This guy's the guy to do it.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, you got to remember, he's not a small person.
No, he's a big guy.
He's a big boy.
Yes,
so
he is.
Daniel Jones, he can move the pocket a little bit and push the pile, I should say, a little bit there with his weight and have some help with the offensive line, of course. So, you know what? That's a good opportunity, a good option to have when you have a guy that's that big and you have an offensive line that's that powerful, when you only need 1 yard or 2 yards to have a quarterback sneak that can get those 1 or 2 yards.
Now, one final thing on Daniel Jones. We talked about the efficiency, and the thing that I also love is he is spreading the football around.
Yes.
We saw 6 players with at least 2 receptions today. Josh Downs led all of those with 6 catches of his own, but it's really tough for defenses when you're able to spread the ball all over the field. You don't really know which guy is going to be able to beat you on a given play, and that's what makes this offense, to this point, been very, very solid, because it's been a handful of guys that are getting these timely plays, getting timely first downs. You can't really trigger and point to just one guy.
No, you can't, and that's what you want from an offensive standpoint. You want to be able to spread the ball around so you're not real predictable to the defense what you're going to do, or who you're going to throw the ball to on 3rd and short or 3rd and long or 2nd and short and things like that. You take what the defense gives you, and you take the person who's open. So if it's a tight end, you hit the tight end. If it's a wide receiver, it's the wide receiver or running back. It doesn't matter. Daniel Jones is throwing to the person who's open. He doesn't have a favorite target right now throwing the ball to anyone, and I think that's good, because you want to be able to spread it around, keep defenses honest, and give yourself more opportunities and a better opportunity to move the ball down the field and score points. So I like the way he's spreading the ball around. That keeps everyone on their toes to make sure, hey, you know what? You run your routes. You run your route hard, because if you run your routes hard and you get open, Daniel Jones is going to find you. Eventually, you're going to get the ball.
And, one of the guys that we saw kind of, I don't want to say reestablish his name, but Jonathan Taylor, he put on what Jonathan Taylor can put on a football field in full effect today. He had his 5th game of his career with over 200-plus scrimmage yards, 165 yards on the ground. He had that massive burst there in the 3rd quarter. And then you talked about it earlier, the check down, what he's been able to do in the passing game. He had 2 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown today.
Yes.
Jonathan Taylor, I don't think any of us were downplaying what he can do, because we all know what he can be. But I think the rest of the NFL just kind of said, oh, hold on here. We can't write this guy off as not being one of those elite backs, because he proved today that he can still be an elite running back. Over 20-some-odd carries. This guy he's that guy, that bell cow running back, and he put it on full display today.
He still can carry that load. If you give him the ball 25, 30 times, he still can do it in the game. And the thing you like about Jonathan Taylor is the longer the game goes on, it seems like the better he gets. As more carries he gets, the better he gets as the game goes on. And that's what you want. You want someone that's, hey, you know what, we can wear this defense down. We're going to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. He's going to make these tough yards. And when it's 3rd and 1, we have confidence that Jonathan Taylor and the offensive line can get that 1 yard if you have to do that, or 3rd and 2, whatever it may be. But also, Jonathan Taylor's been catching the ball out of the backfield. And if you get Jonathan Taylor the ball in open space, I feel very good that Jonathan Taylor's going to make some guys miss, and then he's going to turn on that juice, and he's going to run by some people. So, I mean, having Jonathan Taylor to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, or catch the ball and running some routes, and then also run the ball, another thing that gives the defense some problems. They have to make sure that, hey, look, we have to account for Jonathan Taylor now in the passing game.
Well, and 2 things on that from what he said in the locker room after the game. First, on the catching passes, essentially, he realizes that people have kind of doubted him in that. And he said, if you can take advantage of something that they think is a weakness and you can really make them pay for it, that's one of the things I want to prove that I can do, and that's definitely one of the areas in the passing game. But then another thing that you mentioned is just, the 4-yard run here, the 6-yard run here, maybe the 2 or 3-yard run here, but it's all setting up. And you talk about Jonathan Taylor, he gets better as the game progresses, and I think you really saw that in the second half today. Because early on, he was averaging about, 3.5 to 4 yards per clip every run, but that stuff just starts to wear down the defense, and you keep coming at him, and then you're able to break off that long one for over 60 yards, and that's why Jonathan Taylor is so incredibly beneficial to this Colts offense.
And yeah, it's very beneficial to the offense because, like you said, it wears the defense down, and then you know what? The offensive line, they get some more energy themselves as they go on because they love to run the ball. They want to push people around. And then when Jonathan Taylor breaks that big one, the offensive line loves that. They love that to see Jonathan Taylor break the big one because they sprung him open and Jonathan takes it 50, 60 yards or whatever it may be. And then that gives energy to the whole offense. The offense loves to see that. And Jonathan Taylor just does what he does, and that kind of wears the defense down. And it kind of it breaks not breaks their will. I wouldn't say completely breaks their will, but they get down in the dumps when they see a long run like that from a running back, and Jonathan Taylor's done that a lot in his career.
Now, one final thing I really want to highlight before we kind of do our little closing remarks here. We got to highlight Spencer Shrader.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty incredible. We know that, that the time management to get him set up for essentially a 60-yard field goal, and then ultimately you had the penalty that moved the ball up, and he was able to convert on the 45-yarder. And it's a game-winning kick. He's not a rookie, but, this is his first year as the full-time guy. And to this point, he is 9 for 9 on field goals. He's perfect on his PATs. But you talk about that 45-yarder, especially after, the 60-yarder was a little wide right, a little short.
Yep.
So there's all kinds of nerves. There's all kinds of emotion that overcome you. And then you get an opportunity to step in and kick it again. And I don't know if you saw his reaction. I mean, you talk about poised. I mean, he kicked it, and he just kind of pointed with his fingers like, yep, I made that one.
Yeah.
And then Luke Rhodes jumps on him, and it's almost like that's when the moment was like, oh, yeah, that was a game winner because he just handled it like, yep, just made another kick, no big deal. But what we've seen out of Spencer Shrader has been pretty impressive to this point. 9 for 9 on the young season, especially when you look around the league, and we saw a lot of PATs missed today.
Yes.
We're seeing other it's good to know that you got a guy back there you feel pretty confident in.
It's good to have a guy back there that you feel confident and know that when you send him out there and hopefully within his range that he can make those field goals. And for a guy that just missed a field goal, I'm sure a lot of things are going through your mind.
Yeah.
And I'm never a kicker, but I know when I play golf and I shank one off the tee.
Exactly.
And then next thing you know, I get up on the tee again. That's in my mind.
100%.
Shanking that first shot off the tee.
How do I overcorrect
yes,
this?
exactly.
Yep.
But he stood up there and just, the next one, just put it right through at 45 yards, walk off. It's done.
It's
finished. Let's go. Let's go in the locker room, boys, and celebrate.
That's right.
So that was good to see. It's good for the Colts to win that game, and just the way they played is to hang tough in there and just keep on battling through the whole game. And that's what you have to have. Guys need to step up and make plays, and Spencer Shrader did it. He made the play when it needed was called for, and they walk off with the win.
All right, one final thing here on special teams, sticking with Spencer Shrader. And this is kind of an offensive, I guess it's more of an offensive question just for you, Bill, but this team has yet to punt through 2 games. You know how hard that is. Can you just explain? I mean, that's unbelievable to me that this team has gone 2 games and it's, hey, Rigo, we know what you can do, but you just sit this one out. We're going to take care of it from here.
I don't know how to explain that one. I've never seen that personally. I haven't, and haven't punt in 2 games. I mean, that's the offense. I know we went for it on 4th down a couple of times, and didn't make it. But still, I mean, the other times that they've gone down the field and scored points and haven't needed a punter to punt anything, and it says a lot about the offense.
Yes, it does.
The offense being efficient, offense moving the ball down the field. Offense getting in a position to score points, field goal, or a touchdown. That's good for the offense. But I'm sure Rigo does want to get out there. Besides holding, I'm sure he wants to get out there and kick and show what he can do out there in the football field. But I'm sure he'll eventually get an opportunity to do that. But I'm sure that's Rigo's not. I mean, I'm sure he's happy with it, but I'm sure he wants to get out there and show what he can do. But give credit to the offense and what they're doing. Give credit to the offensive line for protecting Daniel Jones, for making holes for Jonathan Taylor and the running backs. Give credit to Daniel Jones and what he's doing out there in the football field. So give credit to Shane Steichen for calling the plays and putting the guys in the right position to make plays. So it's good for the offense to see the offense excel and do what they've been doing out there in the football field. And you know what? The practice is paying off for them. Those guys have been practicing hard to be more efficient on offense and eat up the clock and move the ball down the field. And they've been doing that the past 2 weeks.
Now, one final thing here before we move on to next week. The Colts are 2-0, first time since 2009. But I think more today than last week. I think last week was, they were striking on almost every cylinder. I mean, you don't score on all 7 possessions. You don't hold a team to just 8 points. Essentially, the 8 points came in garbage time last week. But today, I think it was, typically what you'll see more in an NFL game. Mm-hmm. You get a win, but there's a lot you can clean up.
Yes.
Bo Nix completed 73% of his passes today. That's an area that I'm sure Lou Anarumo and defense would really want to figure out clean that up a little bit. But then also, one of the things we've become really accustomed to with Shane Steichen is the lack of penalties.
Yeah.
They've been a very disciplined team, and today we saw that kind of erupt. I mean, 11 penalties today total. So those are 2 things that when you look at the tape, you're going to really want to clean up because those are some things that you cannot have those linger. We know what completion percentage has meant to this team over the last handful of years. They're always, last handful of years, they've been in the bottom of the league as far as completion percentage to opposing quarterbacks. So that is an area you got to clean up. Mm-hmm. But definitely the penalties because you don't want to give any bone. I mean, there were a couple plays today that could have really costed you. And the one that I really thought of was, the penalty late with Xavier Howard.
Yes.
That caused, I think there were 3 or 4 penalties that followed. That drive, essentially you get off the field. You force at least a long field goal, and it turned into 7 points.
Right.
And those things, you cannot allow those to keep happening. So I'm sure that's what you think when you look into the tape and everything. What they're going to talk about tomorrow is cleaning up a couple of those things for sure.
Yes, definitely. It's definitely the penalties because, you're giving the opponent another opportunity. You give them another opportunity to possibly score, possibly move the ball down the field, get in scoring position, and, you're preventing your defense from getting off the field and getting a rest and getting a blow. So to me, the penalties at an opportunity at the wrong time,
right?
Basically, and when you do that, it puts you behind the 8 ball and makes it very difficult for you to get off the field. So you need to make sure that you take care of those things, clean those things up because eventually those things will catch up with you in the long run. I think last year the Colts were one of the least penalized teams in the National Football League, and you want to get back to that. So hopefully those guys can clean that up and take care of that. But if they can do that, clean up the penalties, and then fix some things, of course, mistakes that you make out there, and definitely holding the opponent to a low completion percentage, that would help a lot. But it was good to see the Colts pick off Bo Nix and get an interception. So if they can continue to do that, get interceptions, get turnovers, and then if you could hold the opponent to low passing percentage, that will help the defense as well.
Absolutely. Well, we're talking about a Colts win today.
That's all that matters.
It's
all
that
line.
matters at the end of the day. It is a 29-28 victory at home here inside Lucas Oil Stadium. It was a wild scene to close. You got all the players storming onto the field in celebration, and then you look at the Broncos guys just trying to escape and get out. It's always awkward when that stuff happens, but it's always better to be on the good side of that for sure. But for the Colts, a very impressive victory again today against a Broncos team who there are many believe that think they could really compete with the Chiefs and Chargers and Raiders in the heavy AFC West. So a victory against an AFC opponent is massive, and that improves the Colts to 2-0. Next week they travel and they go to their first AFC South opponent. They take on the Tennessee Titans. Titans, it's a different team than what we saw last year. They got the rookie quarterback in Cam Ward. He started 0-2. They lost to this Broncos team. They lost to the Rams today. But ultimately, it's your first road test. First division game, the importance of all of that. AFC and AFC South games are just massive, so it would be very, very huge for this Colts season to start off if they can get another victory and prove to 3-0, and it's 3-0 against the AFC, and then they're 1-0 in the South. That would be a pretty big step.
It would be a big step, and also it would be a big step if you play well, clean up the mistakes you've made this week,
right?
Go down to Tennessee, play well, win that game, because you want to build off the games you
Yes,
just played. You
absolutely.
want to build off the Miami Dolphins game. You want to build off the Denver Broncos game, and go down to Tennessee, play them well, win the game. Then you've won 3 AFC games there. Then you won another. You won a division game. So those are going to be big. And then you know what? You start off the season 3-0. That's a good feeling. Start off the season 3-0, but you want to build off the game you just won. So it's important to go down there and take care of business in Tennessee, and hopefully you win that game. You have a nice plane ride home. You enjoy the game, and then get ready for the following week. But you want to take 1 week at a time. And right now, their focus should be on the Tennessee Titans beating an AFC division opponent and hopefully going 3-0.
Absolutely. Stacking wins.
Yes.
That's the name of the game here for the Colts, and they've done that well through 2 weeks. They are 2-0. For Bill Brooks, I'm Casey Vallier. Thank you so much for joining us here on Instant Reaction, part of the Indianapolis Colts podcast. You can check out all of the updates as we lead you in to that Titans game next Sunday in Nashville. Check out Colts.com and all the social media channels for all of that. But for once again, Bill Brooks, I'm Casey Vallier. The Colts are victorious, 29-28. Thank you so much for watching here on Instant Reaction.